Hey there, and welcome to Today with Dana Shay. Today is our relationship Q&A day, and I am going to be sharing with you, it's really not a question, but more of, I guess, an observation about an article that I read last night online. Now, this article was from the LA Times, and it really shocked me. I want you to listen to this. It says, for many teens, formal sex education comes too late. You know, I thought, why would the LA Times say that for many teens, they're learning about sex education in school, but guess what? By the time they're learning about it, they've already had sex. So it's kind of defeating the purpose. Listen to these statistics. This might shock you. 15% of 15-year-olds have had sex. Nearly 30% of 16-year-olds have had sex. 39, almost 40% of all 17-year-old teens have had sex. Now, this is just assuming that they're being truthful. This is not taking into account the ones that are afraid of what their parents are going to think or afraid that they're going to somehow be found out and they're not actually telling the truth. I personally believe these numbers are probably a little bit higher than what's been reported, but these numbers are according to the CDC. Now listen to this. This is what really got me. 23% of these young people did not use any kind of contraception on their first use or on their first time. Now think about that. There's almost 50% of 17-year-olds are having sex, right? That's my personal number. The real number is about 40% of 17-year-olds that are having sex. 23% of them, no protection. Think about the life-altering choices that students are making. Why? They're being educated too late. You know, I come across groups and organizations all the time, and they'll say something like this. Well, Dana, you know, we really agree with your message. We love what you're all about. Your website looks great, but we don't really know that that's an appropriate message for our 15-year-olds right now. Or we don't really know if our 16 and 17-year-olds are really needing to be focused on that. We like to talk about empowerment issues, which is all well and fine. I'm all about empowerment. But when you've got 40% of 17-year-olds engaging in reckless behavior, which is basically sex, with no kind of contraception, no kind of real education, to me, people, that's kind of, you know, an epidemic that we really need to look into. And this video today is really for a couple of groups of people. You know, again, if you've been following me, you've probably heard me tell this story before, but I was a teen mom. And that's really why I have such a passion for talking to young people about sex. It's not because I'm some adult who doesn't want kids to have any fun. It's because I understand what it's like. I understand the drama, the complexities, the fear, the confusion, just being totally unprepared to raise another human being at 17 years old. And when I was 17, you know, I actually didn't start having sex until I was 16. And I was a senior in college already by that point. So, you know, in a lot of people's minds, especially my friends' minds, I had waited forever. You know, I had waited a long time. But I started having sex at 16, and, you know, it wasn't necessarily for me because of a lack of knowledge. You know, I went to a church that they were not afraid to talk about sex. My mother was great, you know, in educating me. My decision to have sex really was more of a self-worth issue, which I'll discuss in a later video. But there are so many reasons, obviously, why kids decide, hey, 15, I'm gonna go for it. You know? And what happened for me, 17 years old, first semester in college, find out I'm pregnant, life completely changed. One decision, and guess what? I was using protection. Okay? So if you think about the 23% of kids who are not using any kind of protection, if you're a student and you're listening to me today, I want you to understand this. Even if you're using protection 100% of the time when you start, right? Let's say you start having sex at 16, you guys are using birth control, condoms, some sort of protection. The longer that you have sex, the number is going to dwindle. So by the time that you're 17, the time that, you know, by the time you've been having sex for a year or two, you're not still gonna be using protection 100% of the time, so studies suggest. And so I know by my own experience and by many experiences of others that I have talked to, if you've been having sex for any amount of time, your chances of consistently using contraception goes way down. So what's happening here is we have students, young people, kids that are having sex many times without any form of protection, which is why the teen pregnancy rate, though thank God is starting to decline, we still have, you know, a pretty huge problem with teen pregnancy. Now, I want you to listen to me if you're a parent. If you're an you know, some sort of youth organizer, an administrator, a youth leader, youth pastor, whoever you are that happens to be listening to this video, I cannot stress enough the importance of parents, first of all, talking to their kids about sex. Parents, you are it. I have a teenager, I'm it. My husband and I, we have to educate him. Because what happens, parents, is when you don't educate your kids about sex, they go to Bobo down the street and they learn from him. They go to somebody's older brother or porn or their own friends who don't know any more about sex than they do, and that's where they're getting their education and knowledge from. Do you want your child learning about sex from tequila on the internet? Or do you want your child learning about sex from you? Now, I know that talking about sex can be not the greatest conversation that we want to have. It can be a little embarrassing. You don't know, am I sharing too much, too little? And that's why I'm in the process right now of writing an ebook specifically for parents on not only talking, I call it The Talk, how to hear, H-E-A-R, and that hear is an acronym, and I'll go into more of that in another video. But I want you all to be on the lookout for that book, because it's not only, again, experiences that I've personally gone through, but experiences from some of my friends who are also raising teenagers. There's also some scientific info that's going to be in that book that I really believe is going to be a huge, huge blessing for parents to be able to have this conversation with their students or with their kids without feeling embarrassed or ashamed or uncertain of the information that you're going to share. So parents, talk to your kids, talk to them early. We already see through this, article from the LA Times that the earlier you talk to your kids, the better. How early? As early as you need to. Toddlers, early elementary, obviously you want to be age appropriate with it, but talk to your kids. Please do not rely on the school or the government or your friends, your kids' friends to teach your children what you need to be teaching them about making positive, healthy choices. Second of all, for youth organizers, I want to encourage you to bring people in. Maybe you don't know how to approach your students about sex. It's a very important topic. It's not just about don't do it. Because listen, we've all heard those speeches. We've heard the abstinence talks before. That's not what personally, that's not what I'm about. I'm not there to just tell kids, hey, don't have sex. I'm really there to really talk to them from more of a holistic point of view. For them to see, it's not just about saying no, but here are all the reasons why. And this is what you can have in place of that. And so if you're a youth organizer, I really want to encourage you to bring in people, to be able, people who have studied this. I've given many years of my life to studying youth sexual relationships. And I really want to be able to bring that to your students. And not only me, but people in your own local area, other people who are, experts, if you will, in the field of youth sexuality. So, you know what? The truth of the matter is, these are the numbers. Almost 40% of 17-year-olds having sex, 23% of them not using any kind of contraceptive at all. However, we can change these numbers. It's going to take an army of us, though. Students, it's going to take you. Parents, it's going to absolutely take you. And then leaders, administrators, teachers, youth pastors, all of us together, we can help the teen pregnancy rate go down, but more importantly, we can help our kids to be so full of self-worth and value that sex is one of the last things on their minds. I believe we can do it. So keep your eyes open for my ebook on parents, how to speak to your kids and hear your children talk about sex. I can't wait to meet you guys on the next video. For now, head on over to my website at danashae.com, where you'll be able to actually pre-order a copy of that book. And also, you'll be able to read through some of my blog articles, more on human sexuality, teen sexuality. Students, I want you to look at some of those resources that I have on my website that are specifically for you. So that is it for today's relationship Q&A. I will see you all on the next video. Have a great day. Bye.